Podcast Rock City. That's right, we're back with Podcast Rock City. I'm your host, Nickelbag Rick, and
I'm Joe.
And I'm Trey.
And we're once again missing our fourth member of the four who are one. Lee, still taking a little vacay. I promise she'll be back. You know, settle down. She'll
Don't
return.
make promises you can't keep.
Well, I'll hold her strictly responsible for my promises that I can't keep. But back to another Podcast Rock City. Today, Joe, what are we talking about today?
Well, we opened up the book Kiss Alive Forever, which is the complete touring history. It's really entertaining. It's great bathroom reading, which is where I've kept it.
Who wrote the book?
Man, why are you going to do that to me?
Hey, they wrote the book. They need to get their props.
It's Kurt Gooch and Jeff Suss. It's Suhs. Buy everything that they do. I don't know, but it's really good if you get a chance. There's tons of stories and statistics about their tours, and some of the stuff that I want to talk about is actually at the back of the book, and it talks about like bands that open for them, how many times they open for them, biggest shows, stuff like that. And I thought we would just, break it down, and give our opinion of why things are the way they are.
How many shows? Do you know how many Kiss shows you've been to?
Maybe 20.
Yeah, I've been to a lot. I mean, I've been seeing Kiss since '79, and then I've seen multiple shows. I'd have to count them out. I would say probably maybe over 30 times. You know?
I haven't seen them as many as some people that I know, but I've seen them on just about every tour that they've come through. I missed the club thing that they did at Center Stage here in Atlanta. I missed that, but I mean everything around it, and I know you guys all got mad at me because I didn't go to Paul Stanley's solo tour.
You jerk.
It's like the day before my birthday, but I had to work.
What a great birthday present.
Yeah, I had to work.
Trey, how many times have you seen Kiss? I mean, I've been to every Kiss concert you've been to, so.
I'd say 4 or 5, maybe 6. I want to say at least 5.
Okay. Trey is not the elder in the bunch. But
I am just a boy.
That's right.
Very good. Well,
that was another show, though.
Opening up the book,
right?
The first thing it says is total number of Kiss performances, January 30th, 1973. Did I go away there?
I don't know. What happened?
Okay, January 30th, 1973 to March 6th, 2002, 1,810 shows, of which I saw 20.
Man.
I mean,
that's one thing you can say about Kiss. I mean, you look, I guess, is it that book? No, I don't know if is that the one that's got every tour stat, every show?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you go through the years on that book, and Kiss, even in the lean years, in times of the Elder and Unmasked, and they still was very, in Creatures of the Night, a very heavy touring band. Even if the tour, I think one tour got canceled with Kiss was the Creatures of the Night
tour,
US tour, which was weird because their 10th anniversary. But, kind of like we just talked about on that Elder show we did. I think people were very kind of confused of what direction Kiss was hitting. It was like,
right.
Okay, first they're kind of disco, now they're like, writing, these weird kind of Hobbit-esque stories.
Smart rock.
Now they're metal again. What the hell? But
Well, okay, so let's
And Gene looks like Phyllis Diller, and Paul looks like Maddo.
That was definitely Gene's worst time. I think Asylum.
I think that and Elder were my two least favorite looks of Gene.
Okay, so let's see. It says number of shows headlined. / co-headline 1,714. Number of shows where they opened 96.
Real quick, what is the last dates on those? I mean, I'm sure they
March 6, 2002.
Okay, so I guarantee this book gets
it's before, revised. It's before the Aerosmith Kiss tour.
But can you imagine though these people who wrote this book and what a great position they're in?
Son of a bitch.
No, what a great position they're in because every few years they get to re-release their books and fans go by the revisited with all the new dates in it. So that's a great idea.
Okay, so number and percentage of shows performed by each member. And at this point, so the lowest at this point was Tommy Thayer, one show.
Right.
And I'm guessing that was...
Does it say what show it is?
It doesn't say.
I bet I know what it is.
I think it's the Dick Clark thing.
Nope. I think it was this private party that they played. It was the first time that they had ever announced that Thayer played with Kiss in the Ace makeup, and it was a private party, and I want to say it was someplace like Jamaica.
Yeah.
It was not in the U.S. And, one of those deals where, somebody says, I want Kiss to play, or Aerosmith, or whoever, and they named the price, and obviously these people's got the money to do it, and Tommy that was his first official performance. So that might be what they're citing on that.
Right.
But
after that is Eddie Cannon, who played drums for Peter.
I was at that show.
Mark St. John, he did 3 shows.
They were up north. And actually, maybe I'm wrong. And yet again, I'm going to always say this on the show because this is everything that we talk about in the show is still kind of, we're not holding it down to 100% fact on everything because we may get our shit wrong time to time. I mean, we try to be as accurate as we can, but if we get it wrong, just let us know. By all means, tell us how stupid we are or are not. But I think on one of the Mark St. John shows, he didn't even play a full show. I think Bruce actually played the second half of that show.
Wow, that's pretty interesting.
I'm not 100%, but I believe
it doesn't say 2.5 though.
Okay. Well, it can still count as a whole show.
After that is Vinnie Vincent at 148, Eric Singer at 155, Bruce Kulick at 602, Eric Carr at 653, Peter Criss at 1003, Ace Frehley at 1059, Paul Stanley and Gene are at 1810.
Well, actually, Paul has won up that number because of the show out in California a couple of years ago.
He went down. Yeah, but that would have to add to the...
What? Have to add to what?
Add to the totals.
Well, yeah, I'm saying no, but that would give Gene one more than Paul, which he would be like, of course it does.
Yes, of course.
Did you know I even outperformed Paul Stanley of Kiss?
And, okay, so top 10 acts... Opening acts by numbers of performance. Ted Nugent is number 1 with 170 shows.
It kind of built up a little momentum on the whole.
If I do that now, it'll F everything up.
Well,
okay, hold on. You can cut it out. Top 10 acts by number of performances of bands that open for Kiss. Number 9.
Peter Criss drum solo.
Okay. Vandenberg, 37 shows.
Wow.
Number 8.
I mean, that's just...
Winger at 39. I wonder, poor people had to sit through that. Wasp, 45, which would have been cool.
Wasp and Kiss.
Fuck like a beast. Faster Pussycat, 47. I was a big fan. Rush, I can't stand Rush.
Well, I love Rush.
We'll get tons of emails.
I like Rush as well.
But I still think that would have been a great show, but very odd at the same time.
Yeah. 51 shows. Trickster and Queensryche are in number 4 with 56. I would have personally loved to see Queensryche open. I saw them open for Metallica, and that was really great.
I've seen them open for Metallica as well.
Slaughter at number 3, Skid Row at number 2, and I'm going to guess that that's the imitation
Sebastian.
Skid Row.
Yeah, right.
And
yeah, kind of like no.
And then number 1 is Ted Nugent. Uncle Ted, yeah, and
I bet they
those
love.
are all,
why? I guarantee you know why they probably toured with Nugent more.
Boy,
because he doesn't get high and party, and it's not a liability, and everything goes smooth,
right.
And that's probably just what they want. They would prefer to have sober people probably playing with them than
One of the coolest things, though, I mean, and I'm. Did you get to go to the farewell tour?
That was my first show.
His first show, cool. Was that Derek St. Holmes got on stage with him?
That was the only time that happened.
Yeah, that was really awesome because he lives.
And he had a shirt
Georgia.
on. Do you know what his shirt said?
I was 15 rows from the last row you could possibly be.
It said "Got Kiss," and they were selling them at the expo, the Kiss Atlanta expo. That just several. I don't know. It was that one before the show. It was like
right.
However many months before.
It was
That's
like February, and the show was in April.
Okay, and they were selling those shirts at this expo, and I think he lives here in Atlanta.
Yeah, he does.
Okay, and so he wore that on stage. I thought that was really, really cool.
Queensryche being an opening band for Kiss is so bizarre to me. It's like Rush, it's just that that.
Right, but I mean, at the time, Rush. Well, I guess they were probably kind of neck and necks with, or close to it with Kiss with albums by the time they were touring. But see, the reason they put Rush on the Kiss bill was Kiss was already bringing in a lot of audiences, and Rush's record company was trying to get them that kind of exposure that they needed, and Kiss was just relentless with their touring.
Right.
So, I think that's when you see bands that can hang with a band like Kiss a little longer, like Rush or Ted Nugent. That probably and see, yet again, those Ted Nugent numbers are all probably from that reunion tour as well, or farewell or whatever. But they probably enjoy taking out younger bands, so they can kind of say, do it this way, or we kick you the fuck off the tour.
Right. And one of the other things is you. I mean, every band on here except for Vandenberg, which we know, but every band on here. I mean, even Trickster, I remember very well. They had a couple of singles on MTV, and they were. I know what tour that was. That was with Slaughter, and that was on the Hot in the Shade tour. Yeah. Yeah, but when I saw them, was it Trickster? Didn't it was Slaughter? It wasn't Slaughter and just Slaughter and Kiss. It was Trickster, Slaughter, and Kiss. Damn, man, I wasn't even like drunk or anything. I missed Slaughter. Okay, then let's see. Which is funny that Slaughter is really Vinnie Vincent Invasion right. minus Vinnie Vincent. Right. Okay, top 20 most frequently played venues. This is an interesting one because Madison Square Garden is, of course, the big place that they can play. But we're in there at Atlanta at number 18. They did 10 shows at the Omni, which is Coliseum. Pretty big. But for the most part, Madison Square Garden, Roberts Municipal Stadium, those are both 13. Cobo is 12. Sure. LA Forum higher now. LA Forum isn't on there. Wow. Cow Palace. Let's see. Don't see it on there. Is that Wembley Arena? They played 10 shows at, but those are probably like Monsters of Rock shows. Yeah, opening for Iron Maiden. Right. Okay. Now Kiss don't like that. Here's like one that here's one that's pretty interesting. This largest crowds thing that that's in here. I don't know. They played to a large crowd, but they weren't all there to see Kiss. Right. So I'm kind of like that'd be like me going to Turner Stadium, Midtown, Turner Field, Music Midtown, walking in with my guitar and playing and going, man, I played in front of 40,000 people. Sure, as I was saying, they'll go to Music Midtown and stand, I played in front of all this, But Rio de Janeiro, that was just them, wasn't it? I would think so. I think so, yeah. And that was 137 plus 137,000 plus. What do you think the ticket sales? The number I hear, 147, 137, 157. So I've even heard 200,000 people. When you look at the pictures, it's freaky. It's man, and when Gene talks about saying, I could have pointed out at one person and said kill him, and they would have killed him. That's crazy because when you look at it, I'm thinking to myself, God, I would have loved to have been there and hated it at the same time. Absolutely. I was watching this morning, I think it was either Nebworth Festival or the Whackin' Metal Festival that they have. And me and my girlfriend are watching this, and it's just like literally a sea of people. It just goes on and on and on. And I said, I would be so miserable at something like that. I said, imagine if you got to be front row at one of these festivals, and it's like all kind of bands, Alice Cooper and Metallica, and just goes on and on. And you have to go to the bathroom, and there's 80,000 people behind and you're never going to get back up there. I would just drop trow and go there. Just wear a diaper. Clear the area. I'm now going to have my own pit. Wear a diaper, and then at the end of the show, fling it up on stage.
Rock and roll.
Right.
Well, you can see like the steam coming off of people too, like on that Rio show.
That's just too freaky to me. I don't want to be around that many goddamn people. Interestingly, the top 10 largest crowds, not one of them is a U.S. show. Yeah, I would be I would think so, because those outdoor festivals over there in Europe and down there in South America, I just, that's what I'm wondering, though. What do you think they charge for tickets? Because they can't be what they're, No, they can't be $100, but it was probably $20. It has to be, because, and really and truly, I think those people, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Let us know, South America, if you can even understand what I'm saying. Are they that big of a fan base of kids? Now, I know Iron Maiden is huge down in South America.
Sure.
Iron Maiden is just like it's like they could run for something down there and win.
Well, maybe they didn't play there a lot. Maybe it was. I mean, I don't know how many times they played Rio.
Well, that's true too. I mean,
So it was just like Australia. Which brings us to the next thing, which is top 5 most attended headlining tours per show. The average is Destroyer was this actually has a little footnote asterisk thing there at the bottom. It says. This is based on a very limited number of attendance figures. If the remaining figures from the tour were available, the tour's average attendance would likely drop. Basically, what they're saying is they're guessing. So Destroyer was 11,000 per show. Psycho Circus was 12,800 per show. I didn't get to go to that. Didn't come to Atlanta.
No, closest it came was
like Tennessee,
Nashville, or Knoxville. I could have went to that show, but I didn't. The only reason I didn't go to that Tennessee show because I'm like you. Kiss comes anywhere around the Southeast. I'll try to go, especially Tennessee. I've seen them in Tennessee before, but the only reason I kind of held out on that tour
because you figured they were coming to Atlanta.
Absolutely. The only reason that tour got pulled early because Paul went and did Phantom of the Opera.
Phantom of the Opera, yeah.
So I hate that I didn't see it, but at the same time, they used a lot of the same things that they did on the 3D tour in the past tour. Kiss has always done that. They
recycled stuff.
Well, they've used the same stage, like the tank stage from Creatures, and instead of just saying
it up.
Right, because it was like, why scrap that entire stage? It didn't make sense for Lick It Up. I mean, it was kind of like it didn't really have anything to do with anything. But what was the point of scrapping that entire stage for a tour that got itself scrapped early?
Well, they couldn't afford to get a new one either way. I mean, they were pretty in debt at that point.
Right.
So
number 3 most attended was Alive 2 tour. Then the Alive Worldwide. We knew that was going to be up there. But the most amazing stat is that Unmasked. I mean, and they didn't tour in the U.S. for Unmasked, but that was the biggest number. Now that's that has a lot to do with Australia. They played these big fairground areas, but 16,500.
Yet again, Kiss had never been to Australia until 1980.
Right.
So anticipation had grown.
Yeah, it was just
it was like Beatlemania, or like how they got received in Japan in the 70s.
Right. You wonder if they had toured in the U.S. for Unmasked. People, I mean, the thing about Kiss is the one thing about them is they're constantly trying to market themselves to a younger crowd every year. Because what they, just like when they toured here for Sonic Boom, it was for every one lawn ticket an adult bought, you could bring 5 kids under the age of 16 in for free.
Sure.
That's how my son got to go in, at, I don't know how old he was, probably 5 years old at that point. That's where I put the video on.
You should put that video up on the Facebook page.
I got so many negative emails about that because at one point,
describe the clip.
We're being filmed. It's me and him. It's dark. The band's starting. All right, Atlanta, blah, blah, blah. The band comes out. My son, when everything lights up, he actually has his fingers in his ears.
Right.
And it's not because it's loud. Because
y'all are in the very back.
We were the farthest back in an outdoor arena that you could be.
Yeah.
It was because fireworks at that point scared him to death. So he has his fingers in his ears. The show starts, and all of a sudden you see his jaw drop. Like, oh my God, I'm seeing Kiss. At 5 years old. I mean, he's been around it just like Trey had his whole life. He's only 5, but he is seeing it. And, they're coming over the top of the drum set, Justin Bieber style. And I say that because, that was his entrance. Anyway,
sure.
And, and his jaw drops. And then, like, 10 seconds into it, my son becomes hard rock Jace. And he is like, yes.
I remember when Kiss did the thing they took from Justin Bieber, what you just brought up. And then Justin Bieber then in turn vomited on the stage like Gene Simmons.
That's awesome. Well, in the video, my son thinks that there are more fireworks about to happen at this point, and he puts his fingers back in his ears. And I pull his hands down, and you can't hear me say, There's no more fireworks. But I got so many emails from people saying, you're a fucking awful father for not having headphones on his ears. You're a fucking awful, you're a shitty dick. And I'm like, I even called you and I was like, good Lord, man, this is depressing me. And you were like,
there's been a bunch
fuck
of net
those
nerds.
people. And they're like, if you listen to Paul Stanley, he just did a whole bunch of PSAs about how you have to wear earplugs and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and respond to this. Fuck you. It's my kid.
Right.
Number two, I promise it wasn't loud where we were. It was not. The reason why the sound quality isn't all that great is because I was using a stupid little camera to videotape us. But, I was so pissed off that somebody ruined, to be fair, we probably got 200 comments. 190 of them were, man, this kid is awesome. Sure. Welcome to the Kiss Army.
And I say anybody that knows you
knows that I would never.
Right. I mean, as much as your mom denied you Kiss as a child, that Joe wanted to cram so much Kiss into his child's ears and face, like, take it, boy.
Yes. And I'm just like, Anyway, so
did you show? You were talking about the negative comments. Did you show your mom that video?
I don't think I ever showed my mom that video because she would have been like, Joseph, you should have been wearing headphones. And I've been like, fuck you, Mom.
I've already got enough of this.
Right.
But, so, the thing of, I don't even remember where we were for this, but I got lost there.
Well, you were talking about, taking Jace to the show at Lakewood. And then before that,
we were talking about Unmasked.
Yeah, if they would have toured with Unmasked.
Yeah, younger audience. Sorry, people. Younger audience. Okay, so that's not me, baby.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, so younger kids. I mean, that's what they're. They knew if you watch the documentaries about about Kiss.
It's funny that you say that though, because Paul kind of talks out of both sides of his mouth. There's interviews around the time of Dynasty where Paul says, we looked out from our, hotel windows and seeing families come in and
this isn't Ringling Brothers.
Yeah, this isn't Ringling Brothers. This is a rock and roll. And then, down the road, it turns into, 10 years later, it turns into, Kiss is, you grow up into Kiss. And, and it's so funny to me, I think to myself, when Kiss makes this remark about, you're bringing your kids to a Kiss concert, but I'm thinking like, Kim Thale of Soundgarden was there, and Scott Ian was there. And look at everybody you've influenced by bringing kids,
Right, yeah. And, not only that, when I was on the cruise, every person that says to me, oh, you went on the Kiss cruise, I bet that was crazy. And I'm like, it wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't. It was, I saw very few people out of hand. There were tons of kids there because they were Kiss kids. Their families, brought them up on Kiss. Their kids were, cheering. The kids were singing. The kids were dressed up. Yep. Those are going to be the people that, continue, later on.
It's a very family-like environment.
It's smart, even Eric at the end of the shows, when he went to give away, from the things I've read, he didn't give away. He gave away everything, his symbols, everything, and they were always to children.
And Gene's like, stop doing that. Yeah. Don't give away anything.
One day we'll get into. I have picked. I was front row for the second cruise, the first night, and when the show was supposed to be over and Paul would just look over at Gene and start a new song, you could just see the disgust on Gene's face that, he's like, I get paid for this many songs and then we're going to play more, and that shrinks my amount.
And I don't know that many of them anymore.
Well, I think that's it with Gene. I think that they probably say, okay, we're going to do this cruise because they do all this, rare material and stuff they've never played live. So, they got somebody sit with Gene going, you got to learn these songs. I know it's been 30 years since you've played anything off this album, but you're going to have to learn this song because people want to hear it.
And don't get me wrong, the cruises were fun, man. But, you talk to so many different people, in between, shows or whatever kind of performance is going on, and you're hanging out with Snake from Skid Row, who's just wandering through taking pictures, and
then you meet a wrestler.
Yeah, I met Edge, the professional wrestler who was a big Kiss fan. As a matter of fact, on his documentary about his wrestling career, there's like good 5 minutes worth of, pictures of him in makeup when he was a little kid and talking about being a Kiss fan.
That's cool.
Yeah, so you it was really cool because I wouldn't say the most elite Kiss fans are on there, because you hear that a lot. You hear, man, only the most elite Kiss fans are going to pay. I don't believe that. I believe that I am not the type of person that has a lot of money. I just had a way to get on the boat.
I don't think if it's at this point where people saying you're making and breaking Kiss fans about who's elite and who's not going on cruises. That's just kind of bullshit, because
it is, because I haven't been to the coffee house.
Okay, right. That's what I'm saying. I don't do the I don't, I'm not going. Joe's getting very angry. He's turning into the Hulk.
It's like there's another Hulk reference.
Right.
It had something to do with my tire, but anyway.
Yeah. Joe blew a tire.
But we know people that, like Lee herself, she's gone to Vegas. I haven't been to Vegas.
Right.
And all these things I would love to do, but only people with money get to go to those other things.
But at the same time, I mean, I've done a lot of Kiss stuff throughout the years, as far as Kiss Coffee House, going to see shows out of town, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama.
Paul's art shows.
Yeah, and gone out of town for some of Paul's art shows. So I've done a lot of things, but I don't feel like, I'm the better fan because I have all of this Kiss merchandise and I've got tattoos and I go on all these things. It's funny to me to meet people who are completely oblivious to the Kiss world, the Kiss fandom. Like Star Trek or Harry Potter or Star Wars or anything. There's a huge fan base with it. So when people come over to your house, or like in our case, we all have a Kiss room or a Kiss house or whatever, and people come over and they're like, "Holy crap! That's always the first question is, do I know Kiss?" And
why, yes, they're coming over for dinner.
Yes, they in makeup. They it's just so normal. They do it 2 or 3 times a year. And the other question is, you should take pictures and send this to Kiss. They would freak out if they saw this. Do you think they would like? It's like, I'm not the only one. Trust me.
Yeah,
there's a legion of fans.
And when people, I used to have tons of stuff, and I've sold off so much of it just to thin out my collection. And when people go, "Man, this is a lot of stuff," I go, "Man, you never been to Lee's house or Rick's house?" It's like you walk in there and you go, I remember one time walking in the first time I ever walked into Lee's house, I looked around and I went, well, if I can't do this, I probably should just start saving my money, because it's so impressive.
Yeah, to me, of all the people that I know personally, as far as Kiss collectors, Lee by far has probably the biggest collection that I know.
Oh, you have an apple core eaten by Gene Simmons.
Right.
And you have saved that shit.
She's got blood cups and towels and
toilet paper samples.
Right. Yeah. Lots of hair out of their head. No. But, she to me has, obviously there's people out there. There's this one guy I seen back in the days of MySpace, and I had added him as a friend. And I want to say he was from Germany. I could be wrong, but I know it was over in Europe somewhere. And probably the most complete Kiss collection I've ever seen in my life, as far as having the European version pinball machine and the American one.
With the S's?
The S's are changed. The sides are painted a little differently. It's got the solo faces, but I want to say it's the real.
They're colored.
It's just different. I can't remember off the top of my head. The little the differences. But and this was like I said, goes back to MySpace, and I could probably look this guy up and find out who he is. But he goes to all the VIP meet and greets, and has traveled to the coffee house and done things like that. I guarantee the guys went to Vegas to that golf course. So to me, I guarantee you he probably looks at himself as like, I am probably the best fan out there. I have everything. And
right.
But, it's kind of one of those things, if you could have everything Kiss, would you? Would you just run out and go, I'm done now, I've just got it all. I'm just going to sit in my Kiss room and jerk off.
Right.
Look at it all.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am the The Lord of the Wasteland.
Okay, so let's go back to some of our stats. That's the cool thing about our show. We will rant. And, I mean, most of the shows do that. But, ours are a little more uneducated.
It's just a streaming thought, man. I mean, just like we're sitting around talking. All we just have headphones on.
Okay, the least attended shows were Asylum at number 5, Crazy Nights, Creatures of the Night, Lick It Up, and Revenge. Now, Revenge was a great album, but,
I can understand Creatures only because I just think it was a confusing time for fans. I think, and the music scene was changing very drastically.
And Revenge was, grunge was really coming out
but
right there.
I feel like if you missed the Revenge tour, you missed a great
show.
I mean,
with
it was
hot ass women on stage.
It was cool, man. I remember it was my birthday. I mean, I turned 25 and I seen Kiss.
I got the tickets for Christmas.
Did you?
Yeah.
And getting to meet Kiss after that show, it was amazing. They gave me stuff, and that show was just great because they didn't open up with Detroit Rock City. They did Rock and Roll All Night in the middle of the set instead of so it was so many things that was unexpected. I like the kind of Terminator esque Statue of Liberty, kind of had that Planet of the Apes feel to it. I like the wreckage all over the stage. I thought their stage show was great. I like that kind of. They got a little bit more. Seemed like Kiss got a little darker, to the point where Paul's wearing that shirt that said "fuck" on it. Yeah. Gene was one of the coolest.
He grew
looks.
A beard.
It was one of the coolest looks with Gene with no makeup.
He looked like a terrorist.
I felt like Kiss should have been doing that, 5 years ago. That's what progressed off of Animalize. That's the look they should have went with.
Right. Yeah.
I think
rather than the glam.
That was awful.
The other thing is that when we didn't know each other, but the Asylum show here in Atlanta was on New Year's Eve.
I was there.
Yeah.
Tripping my balls off.
And it was amazing because at the end of the show, they ended before midnight.
Yep.
And there was a clock on the wall.
That's right. You were there?
Yeah.
I was there. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And Kiss came out, and I want to say they did La Bamba.
They did La Bamba.
Communication Breakdown.
I want to say
Won't Get Fooled Again.
They did Won't Get Fooled Again.
Yeah.
And they played just a whole bunch. And they played, I think, some Zeppelin tune.
Yeah.
I want to say it was
until midnight. They played until midnight. There was a thing on the
and they counted down at midnight and everything. And then they still played a couple of songs afterwards, and then that was it. And that was awesome. I mean,
according to this book, it is assumed that there is a video of that show because the Omni had in-house cameras.
Right.
But they said, of course, there's no way to find out how to get it. Although I would love to find out.
I've heard audio of I don't know if them doing. I think La Bamba and Won't Get Fooled Again, but I don't know about
the Atlanta
one
show.
Of them.
Okay. Let's see. If interesting. Okay. Gigs where Gene set himself on fire. I thought this was pretty interesting.
Can we guess how many times it is?
Well, I don't know if they've got them all on here, but they've got a good amount. Guess.
Okay. I'm going to say 8 times.
Let's see.
What do you say, Trey? God, you're my stomach. Golly. What do you say?
Good Lord, that was loud.
I know, right?
I would say 10.
13 times.
Okay.
I was closer. I wasn't.
And he did it in New York, Florida, Nevada, Connecticut, California, Ontario, Alabama, Florida, California, Colorado, Virginia, New York, Texas.
I wonder who got all of these fucking stats. That's insane.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It really and truly is very impressive, but it's like, these are stats I don't even know if I have ever pondered ever. Like, I wonder how many times Gene said himself.
I'll tell you something that's really crazy is right here, songs used as opening numbers. Now, of course, we know
Detroit
Rock City. Okay, and we know Deuce. Right? But also Creatures of the Night.
Well, King of the Nighttime World.
I Stole Your Love. I've Had Enough. Into the Fire. That's really okay. King of the Mountain.
That's weird.
King of the Nighttime World. Love Gun, Nothing to Lose, 100,000 Years, Psycho Circus, and Rock Bottom.
That's weird to open with Rock
Rock
Bottom.
I Stole Your Love on there?
Huh?
I Stole Your Love. They opened the Love Gun tour with that, didn't they?
Yeah, it's on there.
Okay.
All right, let's see. Let's see. First and last. Now that's not that much fun. Alphabetical order. Acts that open for Kiss. Some of them on here, when I see them, I'm like, good Lord, they open for Kiss?
Let me ask you this. Who, out of all the times you've seen Kiss, have you seen open more yourself personally?
I'm going to go with... I would have to say Skid Row.
Skid Row? What about you, Trey? Can you think?
I mean, they've all been different every time I've seen them.
Okay, I want to say Pat Travers had opened for Kiss a lot, and Dokken. It seemed like I don't know how many times I can say I've seen Dokken at least open for Kiss 3 or 4 times, and I would always be like, "Damn it, I saw them last time. I don't, give me somebody else,
Well,
so I don't have any hate on Dokken. It was just that, damn it, man.
Well, you have to remember that this was up until right when the farewell tour happened. But on here, some of the bands are crazy, man. Like Black Sabbath, Aerosmith. These are bands that opened.
Sure.
And it says it also includes co-headliners, so that might make a little more sense. But Black Sabbath, Blue Oyster Cult, which we all know about, David Lee Roth, the all-new Fleetwood Mac. I can't imagine seeing Fleetwood Mac open for Kiss.
I wonder what tour that was. That had to be like in the 70s.
Let's see. Manfred Mann's Earth Band.
That's weird.
Yeah. Let's see. Ozzy Osbourne.
Wow. I wonder what tour that was.
Let's see. Speedwagon.
Well, I can see that.
Let's see. Whitesnake.
I can see that.
ZZ Top. 8 different shows.
Well, when ZZ Top probably first came out, I mean, granted, they were right around the time of Kiss, but...
Here's one that would have been a great show, and I would have loved to seen it. 311 opened for them twice.
Wow.
Huh.
And I love 311.
I bet that was at that barbecue, the weenie roast out there in L.A.
But it's 2 times.
They played twice.
Smashing
maybe
Pumpkins. opened for Kiss.
AC/DC, Alice in Chains.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
A band called Black Diamond. Black and Blue. We all know about that. That's who opened the show we saw on New Year's Eve at Bon Jovi.
Oh, yeah.
It was Black and Blue.
Sure enough.
Weird.
Buck Cherry has opened for Kiss 20 times.
Wow.
And
To that date.
To that date, right?
They did on the Sonic Boom tour. They toured with them.
And they had changed their the spelling of their name. It was one way, and I mean, I had no idea they'd been around that long until I started reading this book. And I was just, this book is really great if you're out there and I want to make sure you get the name. It's called Kiss Alive Forever. It has a picture of the Cubes poster, on the front
from the Love Gun era.
Right. Okay. So let's see if there's Bon Jovi.
Stone Temple Pilots.
Actually, I don't think they ever opened for Kiss because they were supposed to do the shows.
I thought that was supposed to be a reunion tour.
They were, but what's his name?
That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
He had to go into
Rehab.
Oh.
Dokken, the Dixie Dregs, that would have been cool to see. And of course I'm just Fleetwood Mac.
Does it say what year that was?
Flaming Youth. No, they don't say what year.
Oh,
they just say,
Is there a band in there called New England?
Let's see. Lita Ford.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Here, it's alphabetical, so let's see here. The Heavy Metal Kids, Helix, Halloween. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Look, this band's like hotter than hell. These got to be opening acts,
Triumph.
tribute bands. Iron Maiden opened 24 shows. Jay Giles Band, Jackal, the James Gang.
When Jay Giles opened, that was when Lois Griffin must have slept with Gene Simmons because she slept with Gene and the Jay Giles Band.
Good one. Judas Priest, Journey.
That'd have been cool.
Kansas.
Not so cool.
Korn.
That'd be cool.
L7. These are just bands that, Loverboy.
Hater Girl.
Yeah. I love your sense of humor. It's always perfect.
Thank you.
I'm never that good. The Melvins, Megadeth, Motley Crue. At that point, it only opened 7 times.
Motley Crue got kicked off that tour. That was on the Creatures, and they only did like a California leg of that show.
Apparently,
No Doubt.
Wow.
Yeah, that would have been.
That had to be like the Weenie Roast thing.
No. I think that when they did the farewell tour, I'll have to really go back and double check. When they did their reunion tour, man, they had different people opening every time.
Yeah.
So we saw the Verve Pipes here in Atlanta.
Yeah, I didn't like them. It was the Verve, not
The Verve. I thought
No.
Queensryche, Rage Against the Machine. What was the band you said?
New England.
Yep, 22 times.
Yeah, on the Dynasty tour. That's who opened for them. On
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
But when they come out, check this out. New England was a band Paul produced on Casablanca Records, and they were like this punk band, okay? It was like Casablanca's punk
effort.
Yeah, I guess, because they had all that disco and then, of course, Kiss. So I guess they felt like, punk is going to be the next thing, so let's try to get this band out there. And it was really weird because I remember seeing that Dynasty tour, and that's the first concert I ever went to. So when this band come out, I swear this is how my mind worked as a child. I was like, what if we're at the wrong fucking place? I mean, we're watching a concert, and then I'm thinking to myself, they have all these Kiss T-shirts, and I mean, it seemed, of course, and of course they went off, and I was like, oh, thank God this was over, because it was just really terrible, and nobody seemed to be into it. But their song, this is the only thing I remember from this band, is they had a song called P-U-N-K, P.U.N.K, and just awful. Terrible.
We'll have to look that up and outro with that song at the end of this show.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be.
I wonder if it's out there. I don't know. I mean,
It's got to be.
There's a story in speaking of Motley Crue opening for Kiss for that short time of, or at least then, in Nicky's Heroin Diaries book about him and Tommy sharing a girl behind the Tank drum set.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
During while Kiss was playing?
No, probably while it was being set up or.
I'm a whore machine.
If you're listening and you were that girl, please message us. We would like to know that story.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure she's so proud of that.
I was the girl getting slapped in the forehead. Anyway, when it comes to Kiss, the statistics, you always hear, they're on tour with, 18 18-wheelers, 17,000 condoms, 440,000 guitar picks.
Bags.
You always hear about all this stuff that they take on the road with them, whether or not it's real or not,
If I believe that it's probably real. I just think to myself, it's probably so much easier for Kiss to tour around these days than it was even 25 years ago. Where they didn't do the Learjet thing where they would stay in city to city, and they would go to city to city. They just stay here in Atlanta, and they jet to Florida and the Carolinas and Tennessee and New Orleans, and then they switch and go over to Vegas and go from Vegas to all the places out in that area. Same with New York, and it's just so much easier. Once they get off the stage, they're in a car back on their plane, and back in their city within a couple of hours of walking off the stage.
Sure. It's really, and that's one of the things that makes it easy for them is how central.
Well, I just think most bands like them and Aerosmith and ZZ Top that's been around touring for a long time, Def Leppard and those guys, that's how they do it.
They just figured it out. Man, we'll just stay in Atlanta and go to hit all these places.
Well, I mean, think about it. All they do is got to go back. All the road crew has to tear it down. I guarantee you, too, it's probably like 2 companies. One has one stage set, so one's touring over to Alabama. Once they leave the Charlotte, show, and this one's already getting set up for the next night, so they're tearing this one down, already setting. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how that shit works. I just go to the shows. I don't want to work for them.
Okay,
if you could work for Kiss, would you?
I would.
You would? You think Gene would probably be like really demanding and be like, Joe?
Yeah, I wouldn't care. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I do, as much as I could take, until like he just was like, "Fuck you! I have my own job. Goodbye."
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
I'm gonna go back to fixing copiers. Fuck you.
Yeah, I am the toner king.
I am the lord of the toner.
Good one. All right, so that was a pretty interesting show. If you have a favorite statistic out there that's not covered in this book,
And go out and buy this book. Too.
Yeah,
if you don't have it, seriously, if you don't have
what kind
it,
of Kiss fan are you? Not elite, that's for sure.
right. They give them to us because we are such huge Kiss fans.
Yeah.
Way up in that Kiss Army ranking.
Right.
Yes.
I want, I am very proud of my stripes. But
I think that I thought about maybe in the next show that we do, what we can do is we can we'll watch like a documentary that was filmed. I thought the VH1 one would be really good.
which one?
Beyond the Makeup.
Beyond the Makeup. We'll watch that one and BS about it while we're watching it, or Second Coming. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Right.
So and then if you guys are watching, if you guys are sitting at home, you can put it in and watch it with us and listen to how we BS about it.
Sure.
There are and also I wanted to bring up there are some really good Kiss podcasts out there. Make sure you go and listen to them.
Absolutely. I do. I listen to a lot of different Kiss podcasts.
I listen to about 4 or 5 different ones, and my top Podkiss I love.
Podkiss.
3 Sides of a Coin.
Love
very
that one.
very good.
Yeah, very good.
I love how they bicker with each other about
some great topics. I mean, as well. The Kiss Room. My friend Matt Porter is another. So go check out these others. Don't just listen to us. I mean, listen to all of us. I mean, we're all in the same game. We're all
fans.
Just hardcore fans talking about how much Kiss has kind of turned into a family. It's a whole thing.
I can't imagine my life without Kiss. If they'd have broken up, and if they'd have broken up in the 70s, I'll tell you what. Right now, that's a topic on I think Podkiss is doing.
What would Kiss do if they broke up in 79?
What would if they had broken up in 79? Go listen to that because it's really interesting. Just listening to people's opinions about these podcasts and about and you like that one with that kid. What's his name?
Creatures of the Net.
Yeah, the Creatures of the Net show.
You like that one
I
as
do.
well.
I've been listening to them for a long time too.
Yeah.
I like their show, and like I say, I don't want to limit myself just to one show, and neither should you. Listen to our show, listen to the Kiss Room, listen to Podkiss, Creatures of the Net, 3 Sides of a Coin. And if I've left out,
a lot of them.
Yeah. I mean, there's just lots of them out there, but. And I'm never bored with none of them. I always enjoy the conversation. I always enjoy their topics, and that's what I want people to kind of take away from this show. Is when you're listening to the 4 of us, 3 today, but when you're listening to the 4 of us, just to kind of get our perspectives and our trek with Kiss has been from where we started. As raising a son into the whole Kiss world, and then. All my best friends are, hardcore Kiss fans. That's another story we'll probably touch on one day is when you started finding your Kiss friends before the internet.
Sure, yeah.
That was kind of a hard thing to do.
It was.
Well, all right. I guess we're going to wrap up Podcast Rock City. Another installment. Also find us on Facebook. And Joe and I and Trey and Lee will tell you, go flood us with pictures of yourself with the band, any kind of topic.
in makeup or wearing a t-shirt when you were a kid, or any of that stuff that you've
show your dedication. God knows we do.
We're gonna have I'm gonna put an album in there of Kiss fans, and in this way when people come on they can see you, and then tell us your story. If you had an encounter with Eric Carr, tell us how it happened, or Gene Simmons. I'll tell you, I had this kid that I went to school with that wasn't even a Kiss fan. That if I'd have known what I know now, I would have changed my way of dealing with him.
Right.
But I went into his bedroom one time to look at comic books, and on the wall, just sitting there, was a Lick It Up album. Autographed by the entire band.
Wow.
Because he was at the mall and Kiss was at the mall and
doing an in-store.
And doing an in-store.
That'd be so cool, man.
And he got the whole album autographed, and he didn't even care. And
Did he give it to you?
No. That's what I was saying. I would have been like, dude, Mike, hook me
I will
up.
suck your dick for that licking
Again.
up album, yo.
They weren't really doing an in-store. Gene just happened to be at the Orange Julius.
Yeah, good one.
Vinny and Eric was learning the ropes.
Well,
You
until
hold my drinks.
like,
Paul, you hold the Gap bag. I'm gonna be over here getting a banana split. Yeah.
Then I'm heading to Victoria's Secret.
Woo! I need a new garter. Oh yeah! All right. Well, on that, we're gonna wrap this podcast Rock City up. Hit us up on Facebook. Go to podvomit.com and find us at podvomit.com/podcast Rock City. Man, that's a mouthful to say. It's a lot of podcasts and pod vomits and all that all crammed in there. Twitter, Tumblr, iTunes. We'll be working on all that, getting that rocking and rolling, so you can get your podcast Kiss fix anywhere you are. So on your phone or at the home.
and we're working on getting some guests on the show too.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. And like I say, Joe talked about getting a Podcast Rock City shirt, taking to the show in South Carolina, and getting fans to sign it. So we'll put that up and just kind of grow the empire, if you will. We're starting out right now like Kiss, man. We just got no speakers in our Marshalls, but don't look behind the curtain. We're working on it. It's gonna be bigger and better, just like Kiss is. So check us out on our next show. I don't know what we're gonna be talking about next time, but hopefully it should be all four of us, and Lee will return from her little.
She had soldier surgery.
She had
army surgery, shoulder surgery.
Yeah,
and
she had army surgery.
Kiss
army surgery.
And
right.
she needed a vacation.
Yeah, she
so.
needed a little bit of a break because of her arm, and
Stay tuned for the return of
we don't want somebody all slurring.
Return of
Lee
Goddess of
Lee
Thunder.
tonight. So yeah, she'll be back. I would think on the next show, hopefully. So like I say, just flood us with your Kiss love, and let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. And we will see you next time on Podcast Rock City. I'm Nickelbag Rick.
I'm Trey.
And I'm Joe.
See you next time. Oh, you know what? Real quick. We're at Venerio Studios, our home base. I forgot to mention it before, but I want to say we are recording at our home base at Venerio Studios, who loves us so much. So thanks a lot, Venerio, for letting us put this podcast on. And now we are out of here. Goodbye. See you next time.
See ya.
Good night.
Had to whore the studio. I'm so sorry.
You suck at the whoring thing.